Hey everyone, welcome to Per Diem's weekly webinar. Today we're going to be changing it up a little bit. And since we're getting ready to launch a new booking app at Per Diem, and so we're going to be talking about Square Go, which is Square's consumer app, and how salons and studios and spas can really leverage Square Go to acquire new customers. So awesome, let's jump right in. In terms of the agenda, we'll just do a little overview. We'll talk about discovery and booking, the Square integration and all the benefits there, payment options, automated reminders, profiles, customer reviews, and then what's missing. So let's jump right into the agenda. In terms of an overview, 83% of Square appointments are made on mobile devices versus on desktop. So this trend has just accelerated over time. And then as we see this trend accelerating, mobile apps become more prominent. And so obviously Square Go, which is, as you can see here, it's got a really great design like all of Square's products. But today more than ever, it's the type of thing, we see it a lot. Our primary business right now are ordering and coffee shops, and we see so many orders going in, and it's today's economy. It's the way things work today. Everything's kind of last minute. And when you think about a website and sitting down at like your desktop computer, that's more of like something that you're planning to the future. It's not the here and now. And typically when you're booking, like whether it's a hair appointment, nails, I need to get a haircut. It's more of like in the minute kind of thing. And you don't necessarily, it's something that you would do on your phone, and you don't want to necessarily like go search on, pull out your laptop and stuff like that. And so you can see in this statistic how prevalent that is. So just jumping right into discovery and booking, and really one of the big things in Square Go and just your ability to leverage the Square network. So Square has hundreds of thousands of other salons and spas that use Square appointments. And then many of those, I don't have the exact number, many of those are listed in the Square Go app. So by default, if a lot of these businesses are pushing their customers to book through the Square Go app, then by listing your own profile in the Square Go app, you get the ability to acquire those customers because, hey, I go there now, I'm getting my, my haircut. But yeah, when I want to go to the sugar spa, maybe not me, but maybe I can buy that for my girlfriend. When we want to go to the sugar spa, then I can do that through Square Go too. So now it's like this aggregated app where all these users who are using different types of services that Square provides through Square appointments, and you as that salon or spa can really leverage that. So as you can see in this stat here, an average increase of 15 to 20% in businesses that sign up for Square Go. So that's pretty huge. Previously, I've mentioned this before, I used to work both at OpenTable and Resi. And we saw this specifically at OpenTable. We saw that businesses, restaurants that had OpenTable and that were running OpenTable, if they ever left the network, they'd actually have a decrease in business in somewhere in the neighborhood of 20%. So this works in both ways. Once you get on the network, you get that benefit. But if you decide to leave the network, you can also see the downside if you don't have alternative marketing strategies in place. Simplified booking. So really, as I mentioned, as you all know that use Square's products, Square does a really good job both in hardware and software on the design side. This is true with their mobile apps as well. You can see a really clean, crisp user experience, user interface. Everything is what you would expect. It's not clunky. The buttons are well designed. They have the Steve Jobs rounded rectangles, like everything that you would want and that you consider just good design from a visual aesthetic, but also from just a user experience. Again, user experience being that like when I tap on things, I'm not getting a million screens in between, but it kind of like takes me right where I want to go with a minimal amount of taps. So you can see the booking conversion rate at Square Go is around 30 to 40%. This is going to change based on like the availability. If it's last minute, then maybe that goes up or down because there might be less slots, stuff like that. 30% typically in great mobile apps, what I've seen, booking apps, both at OpenTable and Resi, is well above 30, they were above 30%. I shouldn't say well above 30%, but that's a healthy app. And that's what we see in our ordering apps as well. We see up to 60% conversion rate, but I think the median for us is that 30% range, 30 to 40 in the same. And then that means that, hey, for every 10 people that open the app, 3 to 4 are checking out and they've booked a service. So again, that's really good, especially when you compare it to like web and e-commerce, which those typically tend to be in the low teens or even in the single digits. So one of the bigger benefits, and this was prevalent as well at OpenTable, it's just this notion that at any time, at any place, I don't need to call somebody and do all that stuff. It doesn't need to be like 9 to 5 when you have a receptionist there or whatever. But at any point, I can just open the app. It's like, oh man, I need a haircut. I have this important meeting tomorrow afternoon. I got to go in the morning and get whatever, my nails done. So just being able to do that the night before. I thought, working at Resi again, it was amazing because there were some really high demand restaurants on Resi. People would be setting notifications to get alerts to book tables because the table slots would open at like midnight or 3 a.m. sometimes, and people would wake up to do that. So, those were obviously like really diehards that were trying to get into a certain spot. But the point is, you never know, and you don't want to restrict the amount of time that that you let people book. If they can only book when you have a receptionist there, then obviously you're going to be missing out on a lot of business. So having your app lets people do this. It lets them do it easily, so forth. Or being on Square Go's app, I should say, lets them do that rather easily. Okay, so let's talk about the Square integration. Everything's going to be everything. One of the beautiful parts of Square Go is that everything's just in sync with Square appointments. So you're not going to have to worry about any issues there. And you can see that reduces scheduling errors up to 30%. Obviously, if you're calling, you can always mix up the time, the date, whatever. People get a booking confirmation right away, which is huge. But that's obviously a big part of this. And then one nice thing that it does let you do is you can either book by service or you could book by staff. So if you have your favorite barber or whatever, then obviously you can book that person directly. Then you book the service. Or if you're just like, hey, I'm good, omakase, you just book, hey, I just need a trim today or whatever it is. I need a touch up with special effects. And then you can either select the staff after that, or you can say, hey, just give me anyone, no worries. So that's a nice added feature. And then within that process, also one of the nice things is you can upsell. This is obviously you're enabling this through Square appointments, but the ability to say, hey, you can get the basic pedicure, or if you want, you can get the Drazzle dry polish, or hey, if you really want to get that, whatever it is. So those additional services. So you can see businesses see a 20% increase in revenue from upsells and add-ons during the booking process. So this is something, again, you would set up in Square appointments. But then the beautiful thing about that integration is that it'll be seamlessly available in the app once people are booking that service. And so it enables you to, upsell essentially. Reduce wait time. So we already talked about this a little bit, but just the ability for me, with all the suite of features that there are going to be, it makes it possible for me to just get to the place that I need to get to on time. It makes everything really seamless. You can see businesses save on average 15 hours a month. And you can just imagine, like, when you get somewhere, if it's just like, oh, hey, Tomer, you're here, great, boom. The more you can get to that type of service, obviously your customers are going to be more satisfied. Your throughput's going to be a lot more. So, the more you can stick to that. And that's what Square Go combined with Square appointments is going to do. Obviously, you're not going to be double booked or anything like that, but people run behind, so we understand. Nonetheless, this gives you the ability to know those things. So like, and there are specific features within Square Go that I can like message you, and I get notifications and stuff like that, and we'll talk about it. So all these things combined really do lead to just a better overall experience, and that increases customer satisfaction and increases the chances that I'll just book at your place again. So one of the nice things is, just by enabling this and being within Square, you can access, different CRM tools in Square, and whether you're leveraging that directly with Square Go, but then everybody who's booking with you through Square Go, you're going to be able to get, their email addresses, their basic information that's going to go through Square. And then you can market to those people, however it is, whether it's through SMS, whether it's through email marketing, if you do use these services already with Square. And so this isn't coming from like some third party where you're not going to be able to remarket to these people. And that's one of the nice things about going with Square Go is that, hey, essentially you get these customers, even though the likelihood is that they'll book the next time through Square Go, nonetheless, they're in your database, you can market to them in the future, and that's a huge win just overall for being in the entire Square ecosystem. Payment options, I'll be honest, this is where maybe Square Go could use a little bit of improvement, and I'm assuming that they're working on it a bit. Um, right now when you're checking out with Square Go, now let's caveat that by starting by many people don't accept payment through Square Appointments. So they let you book and then you pay on premise, either cash or, you just pay through Square through their point of sale. Um, but you can add payment. And so right now you have to add a physical credit card. I've talked about this on previous webinars. Apple Pay is definitely the way to go here. I think there are reasons that Square isn't doing this yet, and so we'll have to see. But nonetheless, one of the benefits when you do add your credit card into Square Go, if you need to, then that credit card is then stored in Square itself, and then there's an extra convenience where you can charge the customer based on the credit card that they have on file, which makes things a little bit more seamless at the end. Um, but again, it would be nice if once you click the service or appointment that you're scheduling and there was a payment that you could just check out with Apple Pay or Google Pay if it's an Android app. I don't think Square Go is available on Android, so that wouldn't be relevant. But nonetheless, the Apple Pay now, Square has Cash App. There's Cash App Pay. Hence, they're probably working on something there, I gotta assume. And so that might be the reason that they don't have Apple Pay in there quite yet. But this is probably one of the areas which, might be an area for improvement. But let's see where Square goes with this down the road. Automated reminders, I think this is probably the biggest benefit of the app. The fact that you can get push notification reminders directly to you as a salon spa owner, people running late, people no showing, that's obviously like the worst because, especially if there's no card on file or something like that. So sending out those notifications, if nothing else, that they cancel last minute, hey, at least you opened up a chair and someone walks in spontaneously, great, you can take them and you can fill that revenue. But these are really helpful. The earlier that obviously someone can cancel or be reminded or just show up on time, then all the better. And you can see they do these nice reminders. If you don't have notifications turned on, I'd assume that most people do turn on notifications for appointments just because it's one of those things. It's not like a news app or something like that. This is something you actually want to know. And then, yeah, push notifications in general, you can see here, hey, your appointment's coming up. I've mentioned this before too. Once you tap a push notification, you're right in the app. So if you need to reschedule it, if you need to cancel it, boom, you're in the app. You can do that 1, 2, 3. It's really easy. The other thing, it's here you can see it's branded to Square Go, obviously, but it's talking about Strand Studio, letting you know that, hey, so there is a little bit of a obviously, it's on your home screen. Like if you think about an SMS, it's not as clear who it's coming from. And so push notifications, they're only on the native device. And obviously, if you click on that, you're going right into the app. Higher read rates, and then just easier to interact with than a push notification. I'm sorry, than a text message. And this ultimately is going to lead to, as we mentioned before, a reduction in no-shows. So, hey, send you a push reminder. I tap in, again, I can easily reschedule. I can easily let you know that I'm running 5 to 10 minutes late, all these different things, just making it convenient for me. So you can see here, 45% of customers are more likely to show up for an appointment if they have, oh, that might be the wrong statistic there, but nonetheless, relevant as well. Client profiles. So this is actually really cool. Once you go into the app, you can quickly just rebook. You can see your upcoming appointments, but then again, just a one-click rebook. This is huge. Obviously, you're working in a recurring business, whether it is hair, nails, whatever. You want to build that repeat business. Making that easier for your customers is just a win-win for everybody. And then better client retention. So, you have your preferences. I like green highlights, whatever it is. Hey, that's gonna be, hey, once I come in, hey, last time we went really short on the sides. Is that what you want to do? Keeping those notes, I've mentioned this before, but in Open Table, that CRM, we would keep, hey, these are what people's favorite wine is, or this is, they're a vegetarian, stuff like that. You want to take advantage of that. So when people are updating their own profile, the more you can take advantage of that, the better, and you're just going to offer better service. And that, again, is going to lead to higher retention rates for you. Streamline communication. So you can see this nice little widget that they built into the app for an upcoming appointment that lets you either call, message directly, that'll go through Square, reschedule, or get directions on Google Maps. So again, hey, these are all the things you need to do 15 minutes before an appointment or something like that. So just one clear module there that's gonna, once you tap that push notification, you're in, and you can just easily adjust things if you need to, or get directions so you get there on time. Ratings and reviews. So you can see one of the nice benefits here, and one of the ways you're going to stick out on Square Go as well. So, within the algorithm itself, it's based on location, but it's also based on your popularity. So, places that have more bookings, that have better reviews, are going to get higher in the algo, and it's kind of like this, it's this flywheel that keeps going. So if you can drive a lot of your customers to Square Go and have them book through Square Go, it's free to you. And then they leave reviews for you. Well, that's great, because now, people who might not know about you that do download Square Go and they have a lot of users, they're going to discover you through there. So it's another channel for you in addition to Google Maps and Yelp and wherever else, that people can really find out about your business, and then get that, social proof of like, that's real. These aren't like, no offense to Yelp, but sometimes people kind of kvetch on Yelp, and it's like a little, but like typically the reviews that you get in like first party, because it's based on booking, because after I book, I send you this notification and I say, hey, do you mind? It's not like they messed up my hair and then I go to Yelp and talk about it, but it's like you're giving this to everybody. So the feedback tends to be on the higher side, and a lot more positive. And so then you have this as social proof that you can leverage on your profile in the app. And then, yeah, they also do a good job of, after an appointment, again, they'll send you that push notification. Hey, leave us a review. I believe they do it for tipping as well. But, that's just going to be, hey, instead of like next week, and this is just going to increase the amount of reviews, which again, all this is good. You want more reviews, obviously. And again, you're giving a great service for sure. So they're going to tend to be higher. And that's just a fact. Like when comparing reviews, I'm sure you see it within Square appointments and in general within the Square ecosystem versus what you see online in general. Yelp tends to skew a little bit more negative, Google Maps a bit more positive, but nonetheless, your own first party system is always going to be the most positive and probably the most accurate. So what's it missing? So just to start, Square Go, like I don't know of many apps for salons, studios, and the like that match Square Go in terms of design, in terms of just overall functionality, that seamless integration that you have between the app and your point of sale. Other companies do it, but the app might be a little not so great. And so here you really are getting the best of all worlds in that sense. But a couple of things that we have heard from studios and spas, and that's what led us down the path to essentially build Square Go, but for your own salon spa. So this is a product that we're launching in September 2024, so next month, where you'll essentially be able to be your own Square Go. And so what we've added into this product, in addition to a lot of what Square Go has, but we've added a lot of new features that you can only really do when it's your own app and it's your own property. And so everything here is going to work the same. But again, it's going to be your brand. It's going to be your app icon on my phone. Push notifications, as you can see, they're going to be coming from you, not from Square Go. And so even though you're still confirming an appointment or whatever it is, it's your brand on it. So your branding goes way up. And then there's tons of functionality in here that you'll be able to leverage as well. So what is it missing? So onboarding, maybe this doesn't seem like a huge deal, but one of the nice things when you do have your own app, and we do this really well, is like, hey, seamless onboarding. We have social auth and SMS. So if you're running Square Loyalty, once they log in through this, they're going to see their points right away. But you can see it's just a nice service. And so you can add some images here and then just quickly log in. SMS is so much more effective, and Square Go does this as well. So much more effective than email password. Any app that uses email password today, there's all kinds of issues around security and stuff like that. And it's the way to go today. And with the social auth, the nice thing about that on the onboarding, if I go through Google or Apple, it's automatically, as part of the onboarding, going to pre-fill my name. So that might seem like not a big deal, but I have a pretty long name. So typing that in on the phone, if that saves me like 3.5 seconds, that's a lot when you're thinking, it's not a lot, but it's a lot when you're like in a hurry and trying to like do things while you're on the subway or whatever. So like saving time helps. And so that's a nice touch as well. Square Loyalty integration. This was I was a little surprised how little, considering how many salons and the like I've seen that utilize Square Loyalty. But we are integrating Square Loyalty into the booking app, into your own branded booking app. So people have points. They can not only see their points, they can see the next tier of when they're going to get something from you, whether that's a free cut, free pedicure, whatever it is. And then the best part is they can use those points and book the service through the app. So that works really well end to end. And we've just seen, like, when people see their point, it gives them a little bit something to aspire to, and they tend to book more because it's like, oh man, I can get that something, and so that helps. And you can see in the stat here, businesses using Square Loyalty see purchase frequency increase by 15 to 25%. Store credit. So this is another one that we kind of like borrowed from the Starbucks app, but put our own twist on it. And so we leverage Square's gift cards. And so you can kind of like buy your own gift card, and then you have store credit. And then within the app, you can see your store credit. So one of the nice things that you could do here is you can give incentives to your regulars. And this is what we do on our ordering apps with a lot of coffee shops. The standard is like pay 45, get 50. But, given that your services might be a little bit on the higher side, like, that's for $50, that's going to get me 10 cups of coffee or something like that. But that might only get me like 1 or 2 haircuts. So maybe you up that a little bit, maybe it's like, hey, pay 200, get $250 worth of store credit, something like that, some incentive. And then what you're going to see, what we see in the ordering apps is when I have store credit, I tend to spend it a lot faster. And so it's just, the pain of every purchase just goes down. And it's like, oh, when I think I need a haircut, instead of like pushing it off for like, well, I pushed it off for a while, but for a while, pushing it off, it's like, oh, I got I still have $120 at, why don't I just book the haircut right now and just get that over with? So you can see here, customers who redeem store credit through the app experience increase a 53% increase in their return rate. So that's kind of, and obviously Starbucks has leveraged this, and there's been a lot of talk about them in the news about how they do this, how they're their own bank, stuff like that. Well, there's no reason that you shouldn't do the same thing, and it helps to build in that retention as well. Location-based marketing. So, this is specifically if you're running multiple stores, but actually this is just for single stores as well. You can do discounts and they'll apply as part of your, if you set up discounts in Square appointments and all that. But with your own app, what you're going to be able to do is create coupons that people can use in app. You can create banners too. So these are some of these customization features are just a little, even if you had something, it's hard to promote it within the app itself because the app is more of like a standard template. But once you have your own app, you can create your own coupons. You can create banners, either the Spotify kind of banner that does a pop-up and it's like a full page and you can add an image in there. So let's say you want, offer some sort of deal, or even if you're having an event at your place, like you can have that in the banner. You can even schedule those banners for a certain day or to have on a recurring basis. So every Tuesday, pop up this banner. And then as well, you're going to be able to send push notifications to different groups. So this you would set up as part of Square's marketing groups. You would export all your, you would just create a separate marketing group in Square, and then through Per Diem, you would be able to send push notifications to that group. And one of those groups that you could use would be, hey, if I am in multiple locations, send them to this notification to location A, because I know it's an area that's going to be slow this week or something like that. And that goes into the push notification marketing just in general, there's two types of push notifications, and it's basically transactional. So that's like, hey, I just booked an appointment, and then all the subsequent, hey, the reminders that we talked about, the confirmation push notifications, like, hey, you make sure you're coming. So those are all transactional, and that's great, and that's baked into Square Go, and they do a really good job of that. That's also in Per Diem. But what you're also going to get in Per Diem that you don't have in Square Go, obviously they're not going to let you send a push notification to promote your business to everybody on Square Go. That wouldn't make sense. But when it's your own app and it's your own customers, then that's amazing. And so you can send birthday notifications when they add their birthday in the app. You can do like abandoned carts. You can do 30-day lapsed users. So these are kind of like transactional, but still marketing, So they're set, they're automated, but they're marketing, like I'm sending you something on your birthday. I'm not physically, I'm going in there and just setting up like this feature. I'm not actually setting that on your birthday. The same for the 30-day lapse notice. But there's also marketing push notifications. So those aren't going to be automated. Those are going to be like, hey, this Thursday at 3 p.m., whatever it is, or any type of marketing. Hey, we just added a new style, a new service for so-and-so. We just opened a new location in the neighborhood, next door. All these things you can communicate through push notifications. Today, you're probably using email marketing. You might be using Square's SMS marketing. Push notifications are 7x more effective than email marketing. If you think about it, it's your brand that shows up on my phone, one tap, I'm in the app. And again, we talked about this before. That's why the reduction in no-shows, all those things. But think about that for your marketing. So you want to announce something, how powerful that is. And so it's great for your brand and all that. And that's something that they simply don't offer and they won't offer. It doesn't make sense. But when you have your own app, you can send out push notifications, and it's a huge part, becomes a huge part of your marketing mix. Membership. So this has become popular, like we've seen a lot of like, we built this feature as part of, similar to like Panera's unlimited coffee subscription, but we've seen for booking, I think it's Dry Bar, but it might be someone else, where they do like unlimited blowouts, something like that. You pay $50 a month and you can come in at any time. So you can build something similar within Per Diem. We leverage Square's subscription service. And so you can set up any type of membership, same deal, $50 a month, let's say, and then you can book whenever you're booking a specific service. Um, that service would be discounted or free based on whatever the criteria is that you set up. So again, maybe it is something like a blowout that's not like a full-on hair treatment, but something that people would come back for over and over. And then because they are coming back, now they're going to come back a ton. But now the frequency of the other stuff they're going to do, they're probably going to, get their hair done more frequently, stuff like that. So just having them in your salon more often, building up that recurring visits. We've seen, um, again, this is in the ordering context, but I can't imagine it would be that much different here. We've seen an increase in 30% of foot traffic for people who are members. So, and that makes sense. If I have unlimited blowouts, not that I'm going to get whatever, but someone who does get that, you can imagine that they're going to come in more frequently to your store, and 30% in that sense even seems like pretty conservative. So we talked about multiple locations. If you do have multiple locations, you'll easily be able to book through the app to search and book. So that's just a nice thing. This is kind of supported in Square Go in a way, but if there happens to be like other stores between your first location and your other location, then obviously those are going to be visible in Square Go. So, one of the downsides of Square Go is that, yes, you're giving your customers this incredibly convenient tool to book their, whatever, their treatments with you, but they're also going to see your competitors, And so the benefit of having your own app is like, well, now they don't see your competitors. And so you can see here, and then if you have multiple locations, it's really easy. I can just quickly see what's closest to me and then book that location using this map. And that's just going to lead to higher conversion rates, so making that easy. So you can see mobile booking apps showing multiple locations have 150+% higher conversion than mobile websites. And that's in general, guys. Like, I've mentioned this a lot, and it might seem like not a big deal, but a native mobile app, especially if it uses Apple Pay with a seamless login like SMS, think about the difference between a mobile website. A mobile website, go to your mobile website, hey, it's slower. Then I got to figure out, I got to hit 10 buttons before I can actually like book the appointment, because you got your homepage there, you got other things going on. And then when I get there, I got to log in. And a lot of times I got to log in with like an email password. So I got to remember what's my password. And I used my other computer last time, so I don't have it on here. So I got to reset my password. So now my password's reset at all my stores. So the next time I log in the other device, I'm gonna have to reset it again. Like so you don't have to deal with any of that. And then, hey, when I'm checking out, again, this is kind of a negative on Square Go too. When I'm checking out, I can just use Apple Pay. So that's the next one, like Apple Pay. Hey, you're on the subway, you're in the car, driving around, picking up your kids. Who right now wants to take out their wallet, take out their credit card, and just put in that 16-digit, the CVV, the this, the that, all that stuff, instead of 1-2 taps on Apple Pay and you're done. And by the way, Apple Pay is a lot more secure than credit cards. There's virtually no fraud with Apple Pay because of two-factor authentication, and it's just easier. And so this is the default payment method when people are checking out. If you do accept payments, we will be building this into deposits as well. That's still TBD. So you'll be able to, have that as well. But this is huge. Honestly, guys, this is a big part. I'd almost recommend, if you are doing Square Go and listing yourself there, you might want to reconsider even having payment. Maybe you just book the service there, because it is such an inconvenience for people to add their credit card. I totally get if you do that, but and it's obviously deterrent. Getting someone's credit card is a deterrent for them to no-show and stuff like that. But nonetheless, Apple Pay kind of solves all of that for you. That's all we got for this week. I think, as I mentioned, we're going to be launching our own branded booking app pretty soon in September. And so more details there. Overall, Square Go, it's an amazing app. It really is. I think it's free. Like when I was at OpenTable, we used to charge businesses a lot of money to get the same type of features and functionality that you're getting for Square Go for free. And then if and when, and it might make sense for a lot of you that you want your own app, you could still, and you still should use Square Go. Thing is, you use Square Go in the same way that we advise customers today to who are using our ordering app to use DoorDash. Use it to acquire new customers. And then when you do have those new customers, you can always upsell them on your own app, whether you're doing that through, once they're in store, or sending them emails and stuff like that. And then once they have your own app, then you can engage with them and push notifications. You can send them those marketing promos. You can have those custom banners. So it's a great evolution of the customer journey, and it's their, the stickiness of that customer to you is going to increase much more if you have your own app, basically. So unless there are any questions, I think that'll do it for this week. I don't think there aren't any in the chat. So thanks again for tuning in. Next week, we'll be back to talking about ordering. But now that we are launching this booking app, we will be doing about a booking webinar, probably about once a month, and then probably ramping that up over time. So thanks so much. We'll see you next week, and have a good one.